sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
That we can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just got to hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand?
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans of the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad to see you here. Thanks for joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D's on the other side of the glass. Nina's in the breaking newsroom feeding me all the broken stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that's broke. But we'll figure it all out together. Anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. And let me just start off by saying this. Thank you to everybody last week. Very kind words and messages on my email and through social media. People that were concerned about my health, wasn't feeling so hot, and trying to get through last week. And thank you for the kind words, and thank you for toughing it out with me, because it was... and Big D, dare I say, it was a tough week for all of us. I mean, it's like when I'm feeling down, like you're feeling down, and then Nina's feeling down, and then everybody's feeling down. And I don't mean like down like sad. I mean down like, oh boy, when is he going to get better? Like that kind of thing. So
it's like we're almost a team or something.
Yeah, it's almost like we do this job together every day. It's an amazing thing. So not only for everybody listening and watching, but thank you to you two over there on the other side of the glass, and to Nina for putting up with me last week, because it was rough. I don't know what's going on, what's going around, and hopefully nobody else gets this, because whatever I had last week, just as my mom used to say, I think this one's gonna kick you, tush. She would say like that, and so yeah, it did. So I feel better. I sound better. I don't sound like AI, Drew, today. I don't think. A little better today, D, would you say?
No, you definitely sound better, and you seem more up-spirited.
Yeah, I'm up-spirited. That is the word for today, everybody? Up-spirited. I don't even know if it's a word, but we just we did that.
If
verb?
It's not, I just created it.
It is. I like it. By the way, okay, I don't want to talk too much about it. You might as well just start it off. Just go ahead. Okay, whatever.
For the second time,
yeah.
The Vince Lombardi Trophy is headed to Philadelphia.
Yep.
Eagles.
Yeah, okay, whatever. There they go. All right, so the Philadelphia Eagles, as I talked to people today after the Super Bowl yesterday, the one thing I come to realize is that most everybody, and I haven't talked to Big D about this, but most everybody I talked to except Big D was like, it just didn't feel like a super, like it just felt bleh, like it was flat. Did you get that same feeling? Like yesterday didn't have the buzz. It didn't have that, I don't know.
Like the lack of excitement for a little while there.
And was that because, I mean, did people, it might just be me. And again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, and it may just be me. But it didn't have from the beginning. It didn't have that same people rushing the stores, getting stuff together, their friends coming over early, and the tailgating parties. And it didn't have that kind of buzz. It was almost like, are the Chiefs in this again? Forget it. And then the game yesterday was, if you're an Eagles fan, you're loving life. You're burning down buildings, and you're ripping stuff off of flagpoles, and you're destroying property.
I'll never understand how that shows love for your city.
Oh, it does. That's how you do it. Apparently, somewhere along the line, we found out that the way you show a city that you love it after it wins a sporting event is to trash it. And so,
what happens if you lose?
Well, if you lose, you trash it twice. Or more than you would if you loved it. So. You might smash only one window on the car. If you lose, you smash all the windows on the car. So that's how that works. And so it just, I don't know. Did you get that vibe? Because that's the vibe I have. It was just flat.
Yeah, I wasn't really excited. Obviously because Mahomes and the Chiefs was back. So I was secretly rooting for Philadelphia. They also beat my Packers, so now I could say we lost to the best team in NFL.
There you go. Right? Okay. And the other thing too is, and maybe you and D, your mic's up, so just to give you the opportunity to talk about this, and then we move on. It did feel like yesterday though had a little more America than
it did.
Typical, right? That was the good part of it. Was I felt like, okay, some of the stars, like the Jeep commercial with Harrison Ford, is that his name? Yeah. And I think Brad Pitt was in a commercial, like, or opened up the Super Bowl with like some comments in it, and it felt more like, all right, it's an America's game, and the flag was flying, and people, right? It would. And then Trump being there. And
the players going out of their way past security, get the handshake with Trump. It really felt like we were back.
Yeah. And then the fact that Trump was there and the Chiefs lost. Which is like, is that the kryptonite? Maybe that's
what we're going to need from now on.
Maybe that's the Taylor Swift kryptonite, was Trump showing up wherever she's at. That's how. And so now he has to go to every game. He's going to have to go to every game next year just to make sure that they go like, I don't know, 9-7 or whatever. Anyway, the point is it fell flat, and later, I don't want to wait, and thanks, Dave, I don't want to waste too much time on this, but later on, I'll give you my thoughts on the halftime show. You can't look at the halftime show as what happened to the music or what happened to the show, and I don't understand why it couldn't be fill in the blank with your favorite artist. It's a different era. It's a different time. The NFL needs a new audience, a younger audience, because as the people traditionally that have been there people, 40s, 50s, 60s, and as those people pass on, move on, and a new generation has to come in, you've got to give them something more than the game, because there's so much more out there to do. There's so much more out there that's competing for their time. And so they have to go there. And then, I didn't want to spend too much time on this, but I'm already here, so let me just do this. Big D, let me bring you in as the ombudsman, because I didn't talk to you about this before the show. It's something that I mentioned to my hygienist at the dentist today as I was getting my teeth done. How about that? What a weird conversation.
Can't wait to hear this convo.
Okay. Look, I'm just telling you, it's difficult to, when people know what you do, they want to talk about what you do, because it's not often that they can talk about politics in a free and open environment, right? Okay. So I try to explain to her today, and see if you follow my logic here. If you're in music radio, here's a little inside radio, Drew Steele radio, or radio in general, okay? If you're in music radio, trust me, you're going to want to hear this. This is, don't tune me out yet. Listen to what I'm saying. If you're in music radio, one of the important things in music radio is core artists. So whatever radio station you have, you need to have core artists. In other words, not the one-hit wonders or the fly-by-nights. You have to have, okay, I know in Top 40, I'm going to hear a Taylor Swift song. I know in Top 40, I'm going to hear, I'm just picking somebody, a Lady Gaga song. You know that there are going to be people that you're going to hear. If you have an 80s station, you know you're going to hear Michael Jackson. You know you're going to hear Whitney Houston. You know you're going to hear Elton John, right? So they're core artists that you have to have. And if you look at what's going on right now with the industry and what's happening, then you have to find. Then if you said, I want a different Super Bowl halftime show next year, Big D, let me ask you this. Just think broadly. Who would be the artist that you would bring in that would appeal to everybody? Like a core artist that would appeal to every single person. Like they would be like, okay, that's going to be a great show. Like a Prince or a Michael Jackson, or
what about like an Ed Sheeran?
But he's already, hasn't he done it already? Didn't he do like an appearance? Like there, so
I don't keep track of this stuff.
Right, but do you see where I'm going with this? Find me the one artist that will appeal to everybody. Find me the core. It doesn't exist anymore. We don't have it. Maybe a Taylor Swift might, right? You'd want to see her performing. But other than that, there are no core artists. So the only place you can go is to find where in certain demographics that you want to capture, who are the ones that are there that might be the best in the genre. But if you're somebody who's like, man, I remember the days of Aerosmith performing, or the boy band era in the 2000s or whatever, where are you going to go? There's no place to go really anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next future Super Bowls are going to be, the halftime shows are going to be like, because they don't exist anymore. That one big broad. Does that make sense? Or, I mean,
there's always going to be a chunk of people who don't agree with who the performer is. And like you said, there's not one universal style performer out there that's going to please everybody watching.
But it's not even pleasing. It's entertaining. Even if you're not, how do I say it? Like, even if you're not an NSYNC, Britney Spears, whatever fan, you knew that it was going to be entertaining. If you're not a Prince fan, you know Prince is entertaining. Like, it's that big name entertainment. It just doesn't, they don't have that anymore. So good luck trying to find the next Super Bowl halftime show where you're going to be like, this is amazing. It's just, I don't know that you're going to find, it's going to be tough to find is what I think. That's all. All right. So marinate on that and then get mad at me and call 866-588-8303. I don't know. Maybe you'd completely disagree. And here's one of the other things. Some of you might be saying, who cares? We got a country to save. And I agree. Saving a country sometimes means you have to do really tough things. And you have to expose a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse that's out there. And there are very few people that would step into the position that they have, like in the White House, Donald Trump being that person, and doing what he's doing right now with DOGE and he himself and the things that he is opening up and exposing and ripping the Band-Aid off. And I might even say this. Ooh, you ready for this? How about this? Tell me what other presidential candidate that was competing against Donald Trump on the Republican side that would have done the same exact things that he's doing right now. And the answer is none. Don't say anybody else would have done it, because nobody would have done it. Not one single solitary Republican candidate for president of the United States. I don't care. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying they wouldn't have been good presidents. What I'm saying is nobody would have done what he's doing right now. Period. Full stop. That's what I think. And I don't think anybody can tell me differently. And so we are in an era right now where it is important that Donald Trump succeeds. That what he's doing, regardless of the hyperbolic statements on the left and the vitriol and the Constitution and we're losing the Republic. No, we're not. We're exposing something that needed to be exposed that nobody else was going to do. And that's okay. It's all right that there weren't others that would do it. Because as long as Trump's doing it right now, then we've opened up a new day. Last week, we find out that FEMA sent $59 million to luxury New York hotels for housing illegals, according to Elon Musk. Either he's right about that or he's lying. And the fact is, he's right about it. And the left knows it. And so when you had, at the time, you had, for example, KJP, who was like...
So, disaster relief, this is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
No, that's a lie. She lied. She lied to your face. And this is the thing about the left. When you have a media that's same team, that's on your side, they're going to let you do that. They're going to let you lie to their face, and they're not going to question because, hey, listen, if it means keeping Trump out of office or Republicans or keep out of office, or if it means that we get to keep those monies, those funds that nobody even thought was going on through USAID, running through their corporations and through the media, like we've discovered, like, why is Politico getting 30 some odd million? Why is it that everybody has these subscriptions in DC? Why are we spending millions of dollars on subscriptions to the AP when it's free? What are you subscribing to? No, seriously, that's out there. So all of this has come up. And Elon Musk is saying that a clawback demand is going to be made to recoup the funds, sending the money violated the law, gross insubordination to the president's executive order. There are a lot of things right now that are happening that the left is doing. The people that are just ingrained in a lot of the alphabet bureaucracies and institutions that are thumbing their nose at the president right now and Elon Musk and saying, you know what, we're not going to do it. We're just not going to follow whatever it is you want us to follow. Come and get us. And there's example upon example upon example of that happening. That they are not going to do anything that has to do with what we are discovering right now and making sure that we're not wasting money, that we are following the president's executive orders. Yeah, there are plenty of people right now in the government that disagree with those orders and are willing to go against it. It's unbelievable. So you also have, and look, to a degree, you can look at this and say, wow, this is a reach. You know, the issue of pennies came up. Banning new pennies, says he's instructing the Treasury, Donald Trump is, President Trump, to stop producing them. For far too long, the U.S. has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I've instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. Now, you know, there are going to be some people that are going to report on this and just be beside themselves, like, how could he come up with, what is he talking about?
Really the latest in what we've seen has been a rapid fire effort by the Trump administration to try and find areas to cut funding, to cut money. And this is one that the president now says he argues is one that he wants to target. Now, this was not, I want to note, not something that the president talked about throughout his time.
Oh, he didn't talk about this on the campaign trail, everybody. The president never brought this up. This isn't something that he promised the American people that he would do. How dare he do this? Big D, I'm going to bring you into the conversation on this one, on pennies. I will bet, all right, I've got a penny somewhere. I will bet you a penny that costs 2 pennies. I will bet you a penny that sometime in your life, in your young life that has been nice, it's been in some ways good, in some ways it's been rough. But you know what? Overall, you've had a good life so far. In your, I'm sorry, I don't know why I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, in your young life, young Skywalker, have you ever said to somebody, why do we have pennies? Like, this is such a waste. Like, what am I doing with these? I don't even use them. Like,
I don't think so.
You've never had that conversation?
Thinking about it, we actually might have had this conversation.
About pennies?
Yes.
Okay. Don't you think they're a waste? I'm sorry.
Would they have to, we went over this, I think. Would they have to change all the prices? Would they have to get new combinations of coins?
Yeah.
How do you make that 99 cents? Then you have to get a penny back.
Well, I should probably talk to you before the show, because now I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, no, I do. Okay, besides D, beside you, I'll bet you everybody else that's listening to the sound of my voice or watching, I'm on an island. Nina's in the breaking newsroom. Nina, you message me. Hasn't there been a time in your life where you talk to somebody and it's like, I don't understand why we still use pennies? And it's like, I got 1 million of them around the house and I never use them, and I don't, it just seems silly to have pennies in and of themselves and the way we conduct business. Nina says she doesn't even have cash. See? That's what we need. We need more of the Gen Zers out there who are going to save the country. By the way, there's some news on that. Gen Z is going to save the conservatives and the Republicans in the future in this country. I can't believe it. But yeah, so I think that's something that they just can't grasp. Like, if the president didn't talk about it, then why is he bringing this up? It's so frivolous. What a joke.
That Elon Musk, who's running, the Department of Government Efficiency, they had actually brought this up last month in a post on X, highlighting the cost to produce pennies. So all of this kind of tied to that broader effort of them trying to find waste, abuse, and fraud in the government. And now the president is saying this is one area that he wants to move forward with.
All right. Now, listen, I don't pretend to be someone who knows a lot about money. I mean, you gotta have money in order to know a lot about it. Let's see what I did there. But yeah, like D was talking about before. D and I, me and D. Which one is it? Me and I, or D and I, or me and D? D.
I don't know until what you're gonna say next.
Okay. That we were talking about it in the past about. What if you get rid of the pennies? What do you do, and how are you going to pay for things? And then there has to be if you end up using cash and you have a couple of cents, do you round up? Do you round down? Like, what do you do? How do you manipulate the currency and how we do business each and every day if there are no pennies? And do we change the structure of how does that work? Eliminating pennies from our everyday currency. Right. Like you said, we talked about that. I don't know how that works, but I do know that I've talked to a lot of people who have said that. Like, why are we dealing with pennies right now? Especially when they cost more to manufacture, to make these things than we use. All right. So I guess the point is that you have to continue to look to different places for waste. And you have to be willing to go there. $31 billion of taxpayer money, for example, we come to find out, went to people who are no longer breathing. Hey, if you're no longer breathing, Big D, and you haven't done it for a while, what does that make you?
I believe the word we're looking for is dead.
That's it. Okay. So the U.S. government recovered more than $31 million, excuse me, not billion, million, in federal payments that went to dead people. One Treasury official said it was, quote, just the tip of the iceberg. But nothing to see here. Listen, it's just Trump. It's Trump and Elon Musk. Those guys are evil. Evil, horrible, and terrible all combined. They're irritable. Evil, horrible, terrible, irritable. Anyone? Anyone? Thanks, D. So, as we discover more and more, we're going to hear more and more from the left in the meltdown. I think there was, Nina, didn't you send me, who was it? Wasn't it Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett? She was screaming and yelling again about Elon Musk and the access to the Treasury Department and what that means, and we'll get to some of that audio coming up. And, it's a tough day for those that have to make a decision as to whether or not they want to side with fiscal responsibility, whether they are concerned about the lack of audits, let's say, in the DOD and some of those other issues, or whether they want to continue to protect it under the guise of we can't have this individual seeing our tax forms or taking the money for... They wouldn't say take the money for himself. Yes, they would. Yeah, we'll have that audio and more coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipped an Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got how to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. Coming up, Zach Smith from the Heritage Foundation is going to talk to us a little bit about something that I wanted to ask him, the insane overstepping of what lower courts seem to be doing to try to stop Trump. And it's gotten to a whole new level, and so I wanted him to talk a little bit about that coming up. Plus, how about this? A bill that's been filed in the Florida Senate that talks about AI and firearms. This is intriguing, interesting, and I don't know. I wonder what you think about this. We're going to talk about that coming up. I mean, it has to do with you here in the state of Florida, and so does this, something we do each and every day at this time. It's Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines now.
That's right, it's the headlines. Let's see what the newsroom is following right now. Florida's Voice newsroom. It's Anita Padilla, right? It is in the Florida's Voice newsroom, I believe. What's up?
Hey, Drew, we're talking about a push for Bitcoin and banning chemicals in our food here in Florida. But first, let's talk about Florida's own Susie Wiles. President Donald Trump has high praise for his chief of staff during a special dinner at Mar-a-Lago where he hosted Republican senators. The dinner was on Saturday night, just hours before he attended Sunday's Super Bowl. Trump talked about Wiles, calling her tough. He said that she's amazing and says people on both sides of the aisles have tremendous respect for Wiles, who hails from Florida. He called her a key figure in his political efforts and laughed about her nickname of the Ice Maiden, saying she is very nice until she decides not to be, and then says she can be, quote, brutal. He also talked about party unity and advancing the GOP agenda, saying fundraising started hours after he won the election and telling those in attendance that he hopes the Democrats keep pushing the kind of agendas like open borders and transgenders in sports because he says those are exactly the kinds of policies that Americans don't want. Well, Florida could soon be investing in public funds in Bitcoin under new legislation filed by Senator Joe Gruters and Republican Representative Webster Barnaby. The lawmakers say they want to allow the state's chief financial officer, or CFO, to invest state funds in Bitcoin, including those from the General Revenue Fund, Budget Stabilization Fund, and trust funds. The lawmakers point to concerns about inflation erosion of the dollar and the need to safeguard the state's financial resources from economic uncertainties. The proposal hasn't been assigned to any committees yet, but we're keeping our eye on this one. Session begins March 4th. And he said he was going to, and now he has. Senator Jonathan Martin wants to ban certain chemical additives from foods in Florida. Senate Bill 560 was filed by the lawmaker who previously told our listeners right here on the show that he was going to do this back in December. His proposal wants a long list of chemicals banned from food establishments, meaning they cannot manufacture, sell, or even distribute any foods with these specific dyes and oils. We have that list up on our website. If approved, people and manufacturers would have until January 1st of 2028 to adhere to the ban. Well, that's all for now. I'll be back in another hour to tell you what President Trump did today involving military academies of the U.S. Armed Forces. I'm senior reporter Amber Jo Cooper for Florida's Voice. Drew, I'll see you at 4:35. Let's hand it back over to you.
All right, I appreciate it, AJC, there in the Florida's Voice newsroom, and I said it was Anita Padilla, and I was wrong, and good for her for not bringing it up by mistake. Because it would be embarrassing. And she's a pro. So we appreciate you, AJC. All right, we'll hear more of these stories coming up. And plus, I did want to talk about this one coming up in just a little bit. Blaze and Golia filing this AI to detect firearms in public areas. How about that? So it's an interesting... It is definitely something that I'm looking forward to talking about with you and hearing more of it. So, all right, let's see. There he is. Okay, good. In the meantime, we'll get to that in just a second. But first, let's talk about this. It feels like there are judges that are trying to stop the Trump administration from doing a lot of things. And some people are like, hey, that feels like a soft coup when you have federal judges that are trying to stop the executive branch from doing things. So that's why it's always good when we have a visit from Zach Smith, senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, heritage.org. Zach is fantastic, and we love having him on the program. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Drew. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, you're the best, and busy, man. Zach is a busy guy. There's a lot of stuff going on, so there's a lot of things that are happening in Zach's world. One day you have to come on and tell us, like, we have to do a segment like Zach's world, and you just have to tell us what's going on, because some of the no, seriously, because some of the travels and some of the things that you're doing are very cool, very provocative, very interesting. People learning a whole lot about different issues. And I don't know, maybe, I know, what a tease for people, and then we don't talk about it. That's kind of weird.
I would love to do it, Drew. Happy to do it, but all your listeners better buckle up because, as my family says, Zach's world can be a very scary place sometimes.
Well, all right, but we don't want to scare people, Zach. All right, so help me with this, because you got a judge in Rhode Island now that's talking about the Trump administration violating a temporary restraining order and wants the end to all of these spending freezes instituted by the White House. And people are like, hold on a second. What can these judges do and not do? And is this something that quickly has to make its way up to the Supreme Court? Because we can't have this happen. Maybe explain to people what's going on in a little more detail, and then what we do about it.
Yeah, no, look, this is a very real problem, Drew. I do think this is an issue that the Supreme Court will need to step in and resolve fairly quickly. But essentially what you have is you have left-wing groups, left-wing individuals, left-wing states basically going around the country, judge shopping, finding the farthest left radical federal judge that they can, and then asking these judges to enter very broad TROs, temporary restraining orders, essentially prohibiting Donald Trump and his administration from taking certain actions that are well within his purview to take as president of the United States. Now, you mentioned this federal judge in Rhode Island. I think it's important to pause for a second and understand exactly the background of this judge. This judge is a radical left-wing activist. He made massive donations to Sheldon Whitehouse and other Rhode Island politicians. When he initially went up for confirmation, he received mixed ratings, with some on the ABA's committee, which, look, I'm no fan of the ABA and their rating system, but for the ABA, some on their committee to rate a left-wing activist as not qualified or only marginally qualified to be a federal judge after about 25 years of litigation experience, that should be a red flag in and of itself. This same judge in Rhode Island is also the federal judge who hosted an entire day seminar on the benefits of DEI and urged his colleagues on the federal bench to implement DEI policies and ideas throughout their rulings and their role as federal judges. So this is the individual that told Donald Trump essentially that he couldn't take certain actions and made a not so veiled threat to hold Trump and others in his administration in contempt. Look, this is a rule by judges. Unfortunately, I think we're seeing many judges overstepping their appropriate bounds, their proper authority. And again, I suspect this is something where the Supreme Court will have to step in.
They do
resolve this issue.
They do, right? And quickly. I mean, because typically, does this happen? Can you do that? Like a temporary restraining order? Can you appeal that? Is that something? I mean, obviously you can, right?
Well, typically, what's supposed to happen is a TRO is basically supposed to freeze the status quo, and then in very short order, no more than 2 weeks, but in this instance, 2 weeks is a lifetime.
Right.
Typically what happens is you would have a hearing on what's known as kind of a preliminary injunction, where you get both sides in to present their issues and decide whether the judge will extend the TRO into a more permanent injunction or whether he will dissolve it. But things are moving so quickly in this case, I suspect what you're going to see is the administration asking the courts of appeal and ultimately the U.S. Supreme Court to step in and enter what's known as a mandamus action. They're going to ask the Supreme Court to basically order these lower federal court judges to resolve these TROs and for the justices to review these issues themselves.
Right, because ultimately, I guess the fear is, or from what I understand, and that's why we have you on to clarify, is I guess technically judges could keep doing this all day long and then just leave the system just hanging. Like, just keep doing this over and over again unless we have a precise decision by SCOTUS. Otherwise, they could be doing this all day long.
And look, I think this is part of a larger conversation that we are going to be forced to have, and that frankly we need to have, about what the proper role of judges in the judiciary are in our country. Certainly we expect judges and the judicial system to resolve legal disputes, but what we don't want federal judges to do is overstep their proper authority and start acting like super legislators, enacting their own preferred policies. And unfortunately, I think what many of these judges are doing is starting to look an awful lot like they're enacting their own preferred policies. And I think we saw J.D. Vance, he tweeted out a tweet this past weekend that got a lot of attention, basically saying, again, that judges, should stay within their proper lane, decide cases and controversies before them and no more. We've seen Robert Bork and others on the right talking about this issue of judicial supremacy for several decades now. And so, look, we need to have a conversation in our country about what the proper role of the courts are, and more importantly, what we do when judges overstep their proper bounds.
Right. Well, I guess the good news, Zach, out of everything that's going on is that the clarifications on all of this is a good thing. It's something that I know I've talked to Senator Mike Lee for years about, and how it's always been how some things get done and happen, and it never goes to the courts. Like, it'll never go to the Supreme Court. It'll always be allowed to happen. And then there's never any definition of the bounds which that some people will go and break. And if you don't know, and if there's nothing definitive, then people will just keep doing things. And it's like, no, listen, let's have the courts decide. And then once and for all, we put it to rest. And then we don't have to have these debates. You just can't do it, or you can do it. And sometimes you gotta mess with stuff and break stuff a little bit in order for it to be fixed properly, constitutionally. And that's always been his fight and his cause is listen, we've got to have fidelity to the Constitution. We've got to make sure we are doing that. And as long as we do that, everybody benefits. And so that's yeah. Go ahead. Last one.
No, that's absolutely right. I was going to agree with that. And look, the only other point I'll make quickly, Drew, is, we've heard for 4 years, many on the left complained about conservatives supposedly judge shopping, finding particular judges to bring their cases. Well, I haven't heard that outcry lately, when that's exactly what these blue state attorneys generals have been doing to find the furthest left-leaning activist judges on the federal bench.
Right. Good stuff. All right, Zach, listen, I appreciate you. Thanks for making the time for us here on Florida's Voice. And I know you're busy, so I appreciate you. All the best. All right, we'll see you soon. God bless.
Thanks, Drew. Great talking with you.
All right, great speaking with you, too. That is Zach Smith, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, heritage.org, and he is fantastic. And, yeah, again, how important that is, that, there was judge shopping going on for the longest time. We know the judge shopping that was happening against Trump and the lawfare and how that all worked. And oftentimes you had people... you had lawmakers that would stomp their feet, that would sign a strongly worded letter. They would get really upset about all the things that were going on, but nobody ever pushed it back and said, hey, I guess it was almost like, how do I say it? The things that they're willing to do right now to make sure that the president gets what's done, what's happening here in this case and in others with regard to being able to, shut down different organizations, the temporary restraining order and the spending freezes and all of these things that are happening. Like, this is real to everybody, including at the federal level. Like, this has to happen, and a decision has to be made, because you can't have judges when it comes to something like this, which should be in the purview of legislators and the executive branch. You can't just have judges come along and decide that they're going to make decisions for the executive branch. You can't just allow that to happen. So this has to be moved forward. And in the past, there seemed to be people that just weren't willing to take that step people in the administration or even legislators that weren't willing to go that far. Because they were weak. Not anymore. Whew. Good stuff happening. All right, when we come back, what about AI and detecting whether or not you have a firearm in a public place here in the state of Florida? We'll talk about that coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
We saw the guy with the van, and then we tried to block them, and then they just almost crashed us, and then they just ran away. But they didn't touch anything. They just stole the egg, liquid egg, and some meat. The champagne cost more, but they stole the egg.
Whoa, okay, they stole... so somebody in Seattle, D, stole more than 500 eggs from a restaurant the other night. And that was the general manager of the cafe who was talking about the crime. And they went in there to steal 500. That is so 2025. Is that not the most 2025 story that
Is that because they're complaining egg prices haven't gone down? They're finding new places to get their eggs from?
I don't. Well, how do you even? First of all, that was an extra special story. Okay, sorry. No, no, that's not why. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody who's watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook, and listening across the state of Florida. I will never do that again. That was extra stupid. Oh, I did it again. All right, no. So I guess the question is, if you steal the eggs, like, what are you selling them on the black market? I mean, what do you do with the eggs? Like, or are you just taking them for yourselves? Or I don't know. It just seems
it's
weird.
A lot of eggs to have for yourself.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. How many do you at a typical sitting when you eat eggs? How many do you have? Are you a 2 or a 3 egg guy?
I'm a 3-egger.
Yeah, so am I. I don't know how anybody does 2 eggs. You go to a restaurant. It's like, I want 2 eggs. It's like it's the size of your thumb. It's like, how am I going? What
2
is that?
eggs works when you throw it on a sandwich. If you have, bacon, sausage, ham, anything else on there. But if you're just eating eggs with some, healthy cheese and some guacamole on there, you need at least 3.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I just threw up in my mouth. Did you say put guacamole on an egg sandwich? Is that
No, I said in an egg bowl, I make eggs, melted cheese, and guacamole.
You gotta go. I can't talk to you anymore. That might be the most disgusting. Wow. Let's just change the topic. Change the topic, please. That was disgusting. Okay. All right, let's do this. I think this is an interesting story. So, Senator Blaise Ingoglia, which, by the way, D, let's try to get Blaise on the program. Republican Senator Blaise Ingoglia. A bill's been filed in the Florida Senate that prohibits the use of AI to detect firearms in public areas with some exceptions. So the exceptions would be schools or locations specified under Florida law. But a person who violates this commits a first-degree misdemeanor. So it says that AI, because now AI, you can get like facial recognition, and AI, you can see whether or not someone is concealed carry. You can see whether or not they have a firearm on them. I mean, as it gets better, it's going to get even easier, right, to find someone with a firearm on them through AI. So it says that AI may not be used, including but not limited to, in conjunction with any camera, video recording, or live streaming device to detect firearms in public areas. And he said he did this to quote, quote, utilizing AI to detect whether a law-abiding citizen is carrying a concealed firearm is nothing but a technological infringement upon both the Fourth and Second Amendment rights. We should not give up our rights because of technological advances. Wow. Yes, that's true. But boy, that's... Big D, did you ever think about that? I mean, that's coming, and it's going to get worse because there'll be other things you'll be able to detect too, right? I mean, first...
Well, yeah, the list will just go up from there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of different ways. I don't know. You want to talk about this? 866-588-8303. What do you think about this? And something that's going to affect us all here in the state of Florida, if passed. Talk about it coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right, so coming up, we'll talk a little bit more about this Senate bill and detecting firearms in public areas through AI, and also Florida motorists feeling the pinch as gas prices climb above the national average. How bad is it out there? Talk about it coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your shows.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Oh, it's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortex so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floormeisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floormeisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just got to hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're here. Thanks for joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D's on the other side of the glass. You got Nina in the breaking newsroom. She's sending me everything that is absolutely positively broken. And usually it's the left's fault. Who knew? Also, at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, anytime you want to watch. Coming up, we're going to have a conversation about a couple of different things. First of all, a bill filed in the Florida Senate prohibiting the use of AI to detect firearms in public areas. Interesting. And also, the price of gas in the state of Florida, as we're starting to feel the pinch, if you will. And I'm wondering if you're feeling that as well. And, you know, a lot of people are looking at what is happening with the president in just the first couple of weeks in office and understanding from a overall level that it's going to take some time. It's going to take a little bit of time to get everything moving, to have everybody in place, to start to figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is happening, to figure out when we're going to start being able to frack again. There's some news on that, and how we're going to be able to be energy independent, get to the place where we were before, and when we get to that place, and a lot of people believe, for example, if we can start fracking, if we can get energy independent, if we can get those that will bring the prices down as far as fuel costs, and then ultimately everything else. So we have all of that going on with the backdrop of the left, who are like, "What's going on? Why?" I mean, this is. All right, no, that's Big D. That's, I don't know what that was. That's not whiny Democrats. All right, let's see. Hey, well, how come the prices aren't going down? Why is it that Trump says everything's going to be better and it's not? Eggs, people are stealing eggs. How's that? Was that whiny?
That's way more accurate.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to get better. Like, literally, I'm not kidding. I mean, well, literally, I'm doing the voice of the whiny leftists. But that's what they're saying. They're like, I thought it was going to keep better. Okay, first of all, shush it. That's the first thing. The second was, you're 3 weeks in and it's like, how come things haven't? Really? Okay. Well, because you exist and you make it harder for the rest of us. 16 Democrats joined all Republicans, by the way, in voting for the Protecting American Energy Production Act, which will block future bans on hydraulic fracking without congressional approval if enacted. So that is happening. But yeah, that bill on Friday passed the House. 16 Democrats joined in, making its way to the Senate. And yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. That's right. First day in office, the president declared a national energy emergency, called on the unleashing of American energy. His now confirmed pick for Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, the founder
The fracking company, Liberty Energy. Oh, that's bad. Is it really? Maybe he knows a thing or two about fracking, and maybe he understands what it's like to unleash fracking in this country so that we can be energy independent. So today's passage of the Protecting American Energy Production Act helps restore American energy dominance, protects the jobs of hardworking men and women. The bill ensures fracking will remain an essential tool in our nation's energy production. He wrote all this whole thing out. You don't have to hear every single detail. Of course, he's all about it. So you got to enact these things. You got to move this forward. You got to tell everybody this is what you want. The Republicans getting it done. You even have Democrats who are joining in. Let's go. So that's good news. So when you hear things like that, you're feeling, all right, that's how we're going to start to feel things getting better. It's coming. Don't you worry. All you lefties, all you Florida lefties out there, calm down. Sit back. Drink a whatever you drink. By the way, have we been through this, Big D? What do you think big lefties in the state of Florida, like Florida Democrats, what do you think they drink? Their adult beverage of choice. Would it be like a Mai Tai? Is that like a lefty drink? What would it be? I don't
even know.
Yeah,
I gotta think about this.
Yeah, I'll take a couple of minutes and think about that, because if we're going to make fun of them, we got to be accurate as far as their drinking habits. I'm trying to. What is it like a? Is it Bud Light? Is that what they're drinking? Although, I don't know. They're trying to change the image of Bud Light. Did you notice that at the Super Bowl yesterday?
A couple new commercials out there. A lot better than what they were.
Yeah. Who were the, Nina knows, and if you don't know, Nina knows. Who were the big actors in the Bud Light commercial yesterday where they're trying to convince everybody that Bud Light's cool again? Nobody believes you. Who was it? It was Peyton Manning was part of it.
But the Shane Gillis, the comedian?
Shane Gillis, the comedian, who half the country doesn't know. Well, maybe my house doesn't know. Half of my house has no idea. Post Malone, right? And a couple of randos. I don't know who else was in there. I'm sorry, but I got a hard time believing that Post Malone's hanging around his house thinking, hey, grab me another Bud Light. I don't know. I could be wrong, but you never know. So, everybody's trying to rehab their image. Especially some that were there. Yes, well, I know. I don't want to get into Super Bowl talk. Well, I do have to talk a little bit later about what Trump said about Taylor Swift and the booing. Right, she got booed. Right, there were actual boos in the stadium. Did you see that, D? Right, when they showed her on the big screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she had a big smug on her face too.
Like, how could you possibly boo me? You can't boo me. No, we just did. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get to that. I wanted to mention this before we get into some Florida headlines, because there's a lot going on here in the state I don't want to miss out on. I don't understand how it is that you Florida Democrats, you lefties all across the country, and listen, maybe you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Maybe you're joining us in one of our great affiliates, radio stations across the state. I don't know where you're listening around the world, around the globe. But I'm trying to figure out how you all operate, because there are people that you will listen to and you will swear by. And by the way, kids, this is an important message. Don't swear and don't do drugs. And say no to any amendment that has to do with marijuana or abortion. Just keep that in mind. But anyway, I digress. There are people that you swear by, like, whatever they say is like, it's golden. Like, whatever it is that they come up with, these clever ideas or these gotchas, or they really know what's happening with regard to certain policies and politics, then you just have to follow along with them because they're the cool kids, like Jon Stewart. And for some reason, when Jon Stewart in 2023 was talking to the Defense Deputy Secretary about the budget and had real honest-to-goodness questions about audits, the kind of thing that Elon Musk is doing right now and auditing all these different departments. See, when you see the waste, fraud, and abuse that's going on right now, they're getting the information and the numbers because they're doing audits. They're seeing what's out there. They're finding out what everything is being spent on and discovering that, hey, that's kind of wasteful. That seems like fraud. Man, that's abuse of tax dollars. Are you following this? I'm just talking to you Florida lefties. I don't know how. Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I have Jon Stewart from 2023, who was talking to the Defense Deputy Secretary about the budget and audits, maybe explain it again for you. We played this audio back when this came out, but maybe I'll play this again so that if I don't say it and he says it, maybe it'll click.
To be doing, like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these
please
pieces
educate me on
Sure.
What
so an audit is
difference.
exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now
it
is the question of it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
Yeah.
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think?
Are you picking up what he's laying down there? Wasn't that a very that was a very rock-esque statement I just made. You picking down what he picking down? What? How do you say it, Big D? Picking down what I'm throwing up? What? No. What does the Rock say?
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Yeah, you're smelling what he's cooking. Are you picking up on that? All right, I didn't say it. Jon Stewart says it, lefty. So now you understand? Like, if you can't do an audit for the DOD, you can't tell us where the money is. It feels like that's waste, fraud, and abuse. No, it's not waste, fraud, and abuse. Why not? Because we can't tell you where the money went. Well, if you can't tell me where the money went, then it feels like there's some waste, fraud, and abuse. No. Because that's not waste, fraud, and abuse, because there's money that's being spent. But we don't know how. Like, that actually happened. That conversation took place. And so and forgive me, I'm just trying to figure out what it is. $31 million in federal payments went to dead people. The Treasury. You don't have a problem with that? The Department of Education spent at least $1 billion on grants advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring, programming, mental health training in America's schools since 2021. $400 million was spent on grants for race-based hiring. And $300 million went towards general DEI programming. $169 million went to DEI-based mental health training and programming. And I guess because the left looks at DEI and it's like, no, that's cool. But then when I ask you what it is, you can't explain it to me. What DEI means. But that's a lot of money. That's like $1 billion in all? That's what we just said. For what? Where's it going? What's it doing? Oh, no, it's really good. How do you know? You can't even... Just like Jon Stewart was talking about. How am I supposed to know what you're doing with the money is good if you can't tell me specifically what it does?
I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's corruption. I'm sorry. And
yeah, so he goes on and just talks about all kinds of things that have to do with waste, fraud, and abuse that he sees. All right, we could talk about this more coming up, but suffice to say that there are people that hear this and they fight back against it. And Trump signed an executive order banning U.S. companies from bribing foreign officials. Do you want to protect that? I'm just trying to understand why. Well, all right. There's other things I want to get to here on Florida's Voice. Let's go. All right, how about this one? Gas prices, like we talked about. Florida motorists experiencing a notable increase in gas prices. Average cost per gallon, $3.17 as of February 9th. Look at your calendar. A 10-cent rise from the previous week and positions Florida's gas prices above the national average, making them the highest in the Southeast, according to AAA. I blame Trump. It's the only way you can... you really don't blame Trump, do you? I mean, come on.
True international average depression.
I blame that guy. I could do that. Seasonal demand fluctuations. Historically, gas demand strengthens in the spring. Temperatures rise. Americans travel. Refinery maintenance is something else that they're talking about. But again, this can be fixed soon enough with what the House passed and being able to frack and all the things that we know that Trump talked about during the election and the mandate you gave him. And it's coming. Don't worry. We'll get there. We will get things down. We'll get it taken care of. What are some of the other things that have been going on? Rick Scott was talking about Elon Musk, as a matter of fact, and DOGE, and it's like, listen, do your thing.
I think the Democrats they're either, the stages of a loss. It's either they're in the grief stage or the anger stage, but they don't understand that Donald Trump won the presidency, and part of the reason he won is all the Democrats' foolish decisions. He won because he committed to make government accountable and transparent. That's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what Elon Musk is doing, and they're frustrated that this is happening. The amount of waste is staggering. Now, I'm a business guy. You did this constantly if you want to have a successful business. I became governor of Florida in January 2011. We went line by line through the budget, 4,000 lines of budget. We said, if it's not meeting its purpose, we're going to stop spending the money. That's exactly what you as a taxpayer want them to do. So Elon Musk is doing a great job. Donald Trump is doing a great job. And the Democrats cannot believe that all their failure, all their fraud, all their waste is being exposed and it's going away.
Yeah, well, there's that. So that is Senator Rick Scott's thoughts on DOGE and Elon Musk, and also some other things that he was talking about, including the issues that right now Democrats are giving Republicans, forcing Republicans to jump through hoops, for example, to confirm Trump's nominees for his administration. Today we have the moving forward on Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, a step closer to getting her confirmed. Democrats are forcing us to jump through hoops to confirm Trump's team, despite the fact that Obama had twice as many nominations confirmed by this time in his administration. We want to talk about that now, because I got to tell you, as the senator is saying, we won't give up no matter how long it takes. Trump's going to have his team. He did bring up the confirmations or the nominations and the confirmations of one Barack Obama. There is something to be said about fighting for what's right. And, politically, you're going to get the nonsense from Democrats just because it's Trump. I mean, you look at, for example, Tulsi Gabbard, and you look at RFK Jr., and you think, if you had people, I don't know if you could have people within a Republican administration that are that close to at least moderate positions or even left-leaning positions on things like climate and other things. I mean, those two, let's be fair, they're not conservatives. They're just not. But they understand what's at risk, and they're willing to get into the game to help to make sure that the things like speech and forever wars and those things do not happen. And the truth is out there about all of the things that are going on. And as long as they stay there, and especially in RFK Jr.'s space, you don't want to get too far to climate change and different things like that, which you would hope wouldn't be in the department. But you have people that truly, Democrats in Washington, behind closed doors, you have to believe that they're kind of looking at the two of them and are like, not terrible. But of course, in front of the cameras, it's the worst thing ever because, it's Trump. Here he goes again. Yeah. They probably have that music on their phone. They put it up to hey, listen, that kind of thing. They get really worked up. But behind closed doors, they're probably like, because it really is as close to them and their ideology as you're going to get. I'm not saying they're all the way over there, but you see where I'm going with this. It's got to be a new day for Republicans, though. In the future, when it comes to whoever the Democrat will be that will be president of the United States in the future, it's going to happen. It's just like one day we will have a Democrat as the governor here in the state of Florida. But yeah, it's going to happen. You got to be willing to fight. Politically, you got to get in there. You got to battle. You can't have those days before where you would have all these Republicans would be like talking a big tough game on Capitol Hill, and the next thing you know, it's like, yeah, Obama's pick. Yeah, sure, let's go for it. I'll take that. Ding. Yeah, that's okay. How about her over there? Oh, yeah, really good. Hey, I got real big questions about that person's responsibility and some of the things that we're finding out about. Yeah, they're fine with me. Okay. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Now, you might want to in Washington, but we're going to call you out. That's all. So there's Rick Scott, who's like, listen, we're moving forward. We're taking it to them, and we're going to get these people in. And we're going to get going so we can MAGA. Yeah, you know what I mean. All right. What else do we have before we hit the break? A couple of other things that I was checking out. Yeah, we're going to get into more details on Mike Benz and some of what he's been saying in the past few days about USAID. It's really important because you need to have both sides of what's going on. He was on Tucker Carlson's program, and as I was listening to him and some of what he was describing, it was very, very provocative. And I want to play some of the audio because I want you to think about what he was saying with regard to how we spend money overseas, what it is that we do when it comes to other countries, and how we want to try to help those countries get out of the situation that they're in with, let's say, a dictatorship, the taking away of people's freedoms, and have something a little more democratic in its place. Some might say it's not our business. Some might say it's all of our business. But he had a comment on that that's pretty interesting and provocative we're going to get to in just a bit. I love Caitlin Collins from CNN. I don't love Caitlin Collins on CNN because, you know, she's a big lefty and for some reason is not a fan of Donald Trump's. And so not my favorite combination. But I thought it was interesting. She was on the late night show over the one of the late night shows on Friday, I believe it was, and talking about it's hard to keep up with Trump because the guy works.
So you're doing this every day. You're in D.C.
Yes.
The pace of the Trump administration seems to be moving pretty quickly. How are you holding up?
It is insane. And I think everyone is kind of like readjusting and re-remembering what it was like 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I remember when Biden first took office in January, the New York Times wrote the story about how quiet the weekends were because for reporters, every weekend had just been like it was like a 7-day work week. And now we're back to that basically where it's just essentially nonstop every day. You kind of wake up like not knowing what you're going to be doing, what the schedule is. I was walking to get breakfast one day this week. I was like, okay, I'm going to have a nice little breakfast before I go to work. And halfway there, they're like, Trump's doing a press conference in an hour. And I physically ran back home so I could change and get ready.
Are you listening to what CNN's Caitlin Collins is saying? Trump's working like crazy, and we can't keep up with it. All I want to do is have a simple breakfast, and I don't know what's coming. Trump's got a presser. Trump's doing this. Trump's doing that. I got to run around. I have to work. When Joe Biden was around, it was like, hey, bye, at 10 o'clock, he's got a meeting, and then that's it. We got a lid at 11 a.m.
Lying dog-faced pony soldier.
No, that's true. That's true, and you know it. So now the press has to work to keep up with Trump, and they're like, I don't know, I can't even have a breakfast. I can't have my eggs. Well, the eggs are too expensive. I'd have quinoa for breakfast. Do people have quinoa for breakfast?
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flipped Arrow. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. Anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. All right, coming up, a lot to discuss here in the state of Florida. We'll get to some of more of the issues. As a matter of fact, why don't we do that right now? We call this Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines. Now.
All right, we've got Amber Jo Cooper, AJC, we call her around here, in the Florida's Voice newsroom. She's got the latest. What's up?
Hey, Drew. Topping the news at this hour, getting the chemicals out of your food and using Bitcoin to stay ahead of inflation. Both of these are proposals that lawmakers want for you. I'll have more on those in a moment. But first, President Donald Trump today fired several people he calls woke. He announced the news on social media, saying he fired the Board of Visitors for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard service academies. He said they have been, quote, infiltrated by woke leftist ideologues over the past 4 years, and he called for their immediate dismissals. He says he wants a strong military and will be appointing new people to the boards to make academies great again. Well, he said he was going to do it, and now he's done it. Senator Jonathan Martin wants to ban chemical additives from food in Florida. Senate Bill 560 was filed by the lawmaker, and you may remember he told our listeners right here on this show last December that he was drafting this legislation. His proposal has a long list of chemicals he says should be banned from Florida food establishments, meaning they cannot manufacture, sell, or even distribute any food with specific dyes and oils. We have that list on our website. If approved, people and manufacturers will have until January 1st of 2028 to adhere to the ban. And staying ahead of economic uncertainty by investing state funds in Bitcoin. That's what two Florida lawmakers are proposing. Republican Senator Joe Gruters and Republican Representative Webster Barnaby say they want to allow the state's chief financial officer, or CFO, to invest state funds in Bitcoin, including those from the General Revenue Fund, Budget Stabilization Fund, and trust funds. The lawmakers point to concerns about inflation erosion of the dollar and the need to safeguard the state's financial resources from economic uncertainties. The proposal hasn't been assigned to any committees just yet, but we're keeping our eye on this one. Session begins March 4th. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to check out some of our other stories at flvoicenews.com. I'm senior reporter Amber Jo Cooper with Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, AJC, we appreciate you there in the Florida's Voice newsroom, and anytime you want to check out the stories that she is bringing up at flvoicenews.com. That's Florida's Voice, and you can see everything, including, wow, these are some interesting and very provocative things that are going on with the Florida legislature. First of all, we know that Senator Jonathan Martin was on the program in December talking about the different chemical additives that are in foods and doing something about it here, banning those chemicals in the state of Florida. Now, he's talking about January 1st, 2028. So there's so all of you people out there who are like, how are we going to be able to do that? What are they going to replace? Well, hold on. You got time. Figure it out. Food establishment may not manufacture, sell, or distribute a food that contains any of the following chemical additives. So let me see. Big D, do you think it's a good idea? Should I name some of them and see what you know about it? Let's just play this game. All right. All right, here we go. Brominated vegetable oil. You know what brominated vegetable oil is?
Don't know the brominated part.
Yep, don't know. Potassium bromate is another bromate. Hey, bro. Propylparaben. I've heard of that.
I've heard of parabens.
Yeah, so parabens are like, I want to say, I think they're like waxes. Aren't parabens on, well, they're on all kinds of stuff. Red dye 3, blue dye 1, yellow dye 5. So all those, the fun.
No.
Yeah, no. We already know that, right? No. Benzidine, butylated hydroxyanazole, and butylated hydroxytoluene.
Usually when they're that tough to say, they are worse for you.
That's right. The harder it is to pronounce, the less you want of it in your body.
Worse it is for your body, yes.
That's right. A food establishment found in violation of the law will receive a fine categorized as a Class 2 for a first violation. However, for a second violation, the penalty will escalate to a Class 3 administrative fine. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it's serious. So we'll see what happens. Committee meetings are underway. Regular session begins on March 4th, and then we'll find out if this thing is going to move. But can it be done? Can we? I mean, obviously we can do it. The question is, what kind of lobby from businesses will be against this, and what do you replace it with? There's got to be something out there. I mean, right? If you have all of these things that you're taking out of the food and you can't use it, there's got to be a replacement for it. It's got to be something out there.
Here's the thing. If there's no replacement for it, maybe if it's that damaging for us, we don't need a replacement. It's just not good. You just take it out completely.
Right. Or how about this? Let me go even a step further. I still have the mic on, so here you go. Ready, D? What if you eliminate all of these different things and you need to find substitutes for manufacturers or restaurants, food? And what if in one of the most populous states in the country, you can start a new business? Something that can be created or found to work better than the red dye or the blah, 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 blah. What if you create something that you can put in there that's all natural, that maybe comes from the state, that's manufactured through, I don't know, whatever we grow here, and, we put together some kind of natural product, and all of a sudden, next thing you know it, you got a new industry that's growing here in the state that's replacing some of the things that are awful for you with good things in our foods. See where I'm going with this?
That deserves a ding.
That deserves it. Okay. Let me ding.
Ding.
Okay. It's really weird when the ding is you and you're there and you could ding me, but you ask me to use the recorded ding of you, but you're already there.
It's all about the process.
Okay, it is the process. Something like that. But anyway, I don't know. So when I saw the story and I can hear lefties in my head. I don't know if that's a healthy thing or not, but I hear you lefties in my head screaming, well, what are you going to replace it with? What are you going to put in it? What am I going to eat now? We'll figure it out, okay? I'm just saying, have a little bit of ingenuity or, the creation of a new business. Have a little entrepreneurial spirit. You're a lefty. What am I kidding? You have none of that. Anyway, all right, what else do we have here? Oh, the other thing that we were talking about just a second ago, legislation introduced to allow the state's CFO to invest public funds in Bitcoin. Joe Gruters and Representative Webster Barnaby previously announced the intent to... Gruters, by the way, previously announced his intent to run for CFO. Quote, whether via appointment or at the ballot box, and has received Trump's endorsement on that. So I guess he's saying, listen, I'd like to help out with some Bitcoin in the state. House Bill 487 says the CFO may invest state funds in Bitcoin, including from the General Revenue Fund, Budget Stabilization Fund, trust funds, among other funds outlined in the bill's text. Provocative? So, Big D, I'll bring you in on this. Maybe you out there have a thought on it. 866-588-8303. Would you like to see the state invest in Bitcoin as part of a budget stabilization fund or a general revenue fund? Like taking it from there? And so what is your first reaction, Big D? First blush, investing in Bitcoin. No? Nothing?
That sounded like there was another half a question coming.
Oh, no. That's it. No. I'm just.
I thought it was gonna be like investing in Bitcoin. Are you for it or not?
Oh no, I was okay. Well, yeah, all right. So I forgot to put the other part in there. How do you feel about that as this is being discussed?
Well, if it's gonna help with the budget, you said, right? I don't know who that's coming from, but if it's reported that it's going to help, then I'm for it. But I'm just like a lot of those people out there that just don't 100% understand what Bitcoin is.
Right. And I think that's probably the hurdle with this is, and as it's been described, quote, inflation has eroded the purchasing power of assets held in state funds managed by the CFO, and this erosion diminishes the value of the state's reserves, affecting the financial stability and economic security of the state, its taxpayers, and its residents. Now, some people might hear that and say, well, if there was a way to tackle inflation, then we might not have to worry about this. Because if you have an administration that is focusing on that and cares about that and can do something about it, then ultimately we would be okay because we wouldn't have purchasing power of assets held in state funds eroded because of inflation, because somebody would tackle it. And then there's the other side that says, you ready, D? But Democrats. Exactly. So you can't have nice things. See, as long as Democrats exist, you can't have nice things. So on the other side of that, the flip side of that is once you get a Democrat in office, the inflation stuff, all bets are off. I don't know. It seems like a popular thing with them. You got Jimmy Carter, who seemed to love the whole inflation thing. You got Joe Biden, who, well, I don't know what he was doing. I don't even think Joe Biden knew what he was doing, to be quite honest with you. So if we're really going to be, it's...
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what that means. So the bills haven't been yet assigned to committees. And if they get assigned, we'll let you know. And we'll see where it goes so we can go and see. But, like Dee said, some people are just not sure about Bitcoin. They can't explain it. And if I can't explain it, I don't know if I want the state being... Trust me, it's something that we will get into during session for sure. We'll discuss it a little deeper. All right, so some of the other stories that we are keeping an eye on here on Florida's Voice. I worry about some of the vitriol that is out there. I worry about how some people on the left have been reacting to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, especially Elon Musk. Some of the hyperbolic statements that have been thrown out about what he's doing, the lies about what Elon Musk is doing. I think wasn't it the other day that we played audio of, gosh, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was some lefty who was trying to say that Elon Musk was literally going into the treasury to take your money. I'm not sure which lefty it was, which politician, but they're all the same. Then they probably think that way. Because they want you to be scared, terrified that Elon Musk is going into the Treasury. He's going to look at the Department of Treasury, Department of Education, any other department with DOGE. Is going to find waste, fraud, and abuse. And when he finds that, that automatically means that money for people specifically is going to go away, in which case the left is trying to make it sound as if he is specifically going after individuals in this country that politically, I guess, don't agree with him. I guess that's where we're going here. And he's going to take your money. Now, if that were to happen, what do you do in response? And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, if you've ever thought to yourself, how bad could things get if somebody were to really, really, really lie about what a specific person is doing, whether it's Trump or Elon Musk? How far will people go after hearing the lie to protect themselves from being affected by that lie. In other words, if somebody were to say the only reason why Elon Musk is going into the Treasury or looking at the Department of Treasury is to look for specific people and take your money for himself. One of the most ridiculous lies out there perpetrated by the left. But what were to happen if certain people who are trusted in their communities tell you that violence is the answer based on that lie? And what if I were to tell you it was the pastor in a church? No, nobody would do that. You wouldn't have a pastor calling for violence in a church, would you? Well, let's find out together coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's good to see you. I'm sorry, that was a weird way to come back from the break. Anytime you want to watch NFL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, at any time you would like to call the program, 866-588-8303. Now, there are some people who might wonder about when people say things negatively about, I don't know, what's going on with people who want to make sure that we are not wasting taxpayer dollars, waste, fraud, and abuse. And that there would be people who don't like the fact that Elon Musk is going around with DOGE and making sure that not only do we not have the waste, fraud, and abuse, but hey, some other things that are going on as well. Like, why is it that we're spending money on X and we're not spending money on Y? And, that kind of thing. Where some people get so freaked out about it that they want to say the most hyperbolic things you can possibly imagine. Like Elon Musk wants to take your money. Like, his whole goal here is to take the money for himself. We've heard many people say that. The one thing we haven't heard yet is a call for violence against Elon Musk or anything that's going on. Worse yet would be is if it came from a church and a pastor. Colin Rugg on X and many other people have been looking at this viral clip. Colin Rugg with Trending Politics. And this is a Chattanooga pastor who was talking about this. And again, remember, what's the problem here? The problem is that when you lie about something, when you tell the world that the only thing that Elon Musk wants to do is take your money, when that's not what he wants to do at all, sometimes you can make really bad conclusions and decisions on that. And here's what this pastor said.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. So therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation.
Okay. Now what?
And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary.
I don't usually hear this type of thing from a church pastor calling for violence and saying it's necessary.
When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence.
But that's not what he's doing. That's not what's going on here.
Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight.
I'm looking at the time. That's not what's happening. So you have a pastor of a church in Chattanooga, Tennessee, who's telling his congregation that sometimes violence is necessary, especially if Elon Musk is going to take away your Social Security check. That's not going to happen. He's got to know that. And if he doesn't know it, somebody's got to tell him that that's not what's happening. And if somebody's not telling him that, why are they not telling him that? This is why, man, that's not good.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. And anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. That's the phone number. Across the state of Florida, we would love to hear from you. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortex so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just got to hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D is on the other side of the glass. You got Nina in the breaking news room, and you watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. I want to say that Bob McClure is one of the first people way back one of the first people that I talked to about policy and different things that were going on in the state of Florida. He probably doesn't remember, but it was a while back. And one of the good people here in the state of Florida, president and CEO of the James Madison Institute. It's been a little while since I've seen him and had a conversation with him. So it's always great to do both. He's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. There he is. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, my friend. It's been a while. You're aging well.
Well, thanks. You could have kept the aging part. You could have said you're not aging at all. That's, yeah, there you go.
Right.
But anyway, hey, by the way, when you look at and hear about your bio, and I don't think people realize this, I mean, are you seventh generation Floridian? Is that right? Because, yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my family was in Florida before Florida was a state. We came in the mid-1840s. Florida came in the same year as Iowa. Trivia question for those who care. My family owned land in 1840. So we've been in North Florida, South Florida, Central Florida since the early 1800s.
Amazing, yeah. So if you're wondering if he knows a thing or two about the state of Florida, let's just say yes. So there you go. And cares as well, because, right. you're not seventh generation and not care about the state.
True that.
Yeah, that is right. So let's do this. Before we get into some of the things that are happening here in the state, let's just get to the event first of all, right out of the gate. Yeah. The Naples dinner that's going on. I believe that's February 17th, right? So that's coming up. Check your calendars. Talk a little bit about what's happening.
It's a week from Monday. We're having, we booked these folks early. So we did this in, July or August, Drew, and we had someone say, we don't know who's going to win the election. Everybody's going to be tired of kind of red meat. Let's book a reasonable Democrat, a reasonable Republican. We're a nonpartisan organization, even though we are principled, believe in free markets and limited government. And let's just have a conversation. So we have Harold Ford Jr. coming. and Trey Gowdy on the right, both of whom, your viewers and your listeners will know from Fox News. And we're going to have a great evening talking about where the country goes from here. It's at La Playa, which is on Vanderbilt Beach. You can go to jamesmadison.org to get tickets and those kinds of things. We're almost sold out, but there's still some VIP tickets, some regular tickets, and we'd love to have your folks join us. It's going to be a great, great evening. Just reasonable conversation about the future of this country and this administration.
Yeah. And I think now more than ever, it's obviously we need that. We need reasoned conversation. And also, with a lot of the national issues that are happening, I wonder if, as I've been saying this a lot and get your perspective on this, a lot of times people have been kind of nibbling around the edges with their ideological views with people. They just, sometimes people don't want to offend. But in a lot of ways, you've got to rip the Band-Aid off now to talk about the real, honest issues and the things that are happening and affecting the country, because it feels to me now more than ever that people are open to the conversation on both sides. You just have to do it now. And maybe you see the same thing, or maybe you think differently.
No, I see it the same way. I think, and you're seeing it in the actions of this administration. I think you have obviously a Republican Party that has coalesced around the president. He won all 7 swing states. That's like winning 7 different governor's races. It's just really hard to do. He won the popular vote, which I think is really critical. Had he not won the popular vote, we'd be hearing about, we need to get rid of the Electoral College, et cetera. And that galvanized him and brought with him, as you well know, communities that have not traditionally been voting Republican, some Hispanic community, African-American community, reasonable Democrats. And so what the Democratic Party is left with is the hard left. And so Donald Trump has the mandate, and they are ripping the Band-Aid off, and the American people love it. It does, except for the hard left, the American people love it. Let's find out what we're funding. Let's find out where this money's going. That's just the beginning of where he's going to go. And I don't think you're going to see them stop at all.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I'd like to see this continue and open up, because I think reasonable people, and as we keep talking about that, there is something to be said about when the Democrats go so hard left, they leave people behind. They continue to do it. If they want to continue being that party, then go right ahead. But they're losing people, well, especially here in the state. I mean, yeah. I think the state of Florida is the perfect example of how you can lose people quickly. I mean, it was only 6 years ago, right? It seemed like we were a purple state, and now all of a sudden it's supermajority territory. But again, when you push that hard and you leave that space and that gap, and people are now in that gap and they want to know what you offer or what is true. And if they don't want to be that hard left, you've got to give them something that's real, that's tangible, that's really going to help them. And so that's another important aspect of this. It's one thing to expose all of this, but ultimately you've got to bring something too.
And that's what the president has done. He ran on common sense. And so he's got his 4 or 5 issues, and we all know them. What is fascinating to me is that the Democratic Party at the national level, they have no issues. They are simply angry and bitter and standing in the doorway of progress. If you're a working man or woman, if you're a Hispanic or an African American who has, you've not traditionally voted for Republicans, what is the Democratic Party for? And when it relates to you, like, what are they for? Donald Trump has made that very clear. And that's the importance of policy, is that policy can wins elect. Good policy is good politics. Donald Trump showed that. But the Democratic Party has yet, even 3 weeks, 3 months after the election, they have yet to say what they are for.
Yeah. And I think as the days go on and they continue to push against, as opposed to saying what they're for, they're not winning any converts. They're not getting anybody back when they continue to do this. And it leads us to the state where, now, obviously, I haven't talked to you in a while. So right. The things that are happening, and I'll tell you this for me personally, and it's kind of like the 30,000-foot view, as I like to say it, really feels like what we've built together legislatively in the state can only be torn apart if we do it to ourselves. Like if they do it to themselves, then that's how things will be lost. Because there's so many things right now that are so good that are happening, and hard work that's being done, and it's been done for years.
Yeah.
But we'll first speak to that issue here, because I think that's an important thing that I don't want people to miss.
Yeah. I had a piece in The Hill a few weeks ago talking about kind of the 40-year arc of the rise of conservatism, movement conservatism here in Florida. You had Jeb Bush in the late 90s who kind of kicked it off, and we have gone 40 years, and now we are a deep red state. I mean, think about it. Barack Obama won the state of Florida twice, Rick Scott twice, plus his Senate campaign, there's a third. Ron DeSantis' first race and Trump's first race. In all of those races, the winner won by 1%, which is exactly what you said to open up the show. Move forward, Trump wins Florida by 1.5 million votes this year. He won it by 100,000 in 2016. Ron DeSantis won Florida his second term by more votes than Gavin Newsom won California. And so what we have is a very, very diverse state. The left loves to say, oh, as you become more diverse, you're going to lose. You know, they always love that cudgel. Florida gives a lie to that. That's actually not true. And, DeSantis and Trump win Miami-Dade County, 70% Hispanic. I mean, the list goes on. So you're right. We've done the heavy lifting. What we can't do is start a family fight and burn it all down needlessly. It's like, the decline and fall of the Roman Empire.
Yep.
We can't do that here in the state of Florida.
That's right. And especially when so many good things have been happening. I mean, just the news the other day about property insurance. I don't think anybody saw that coming so quite honestly, so quickly, because I think people really felt like, how are we going to make this better? Maybe you can speak to that, because to me, that's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. And we're not there yet. I mean, we've lowered the rate of increase. Either what most Floridians see is that either their rates did not increase or they increased just minuscule amount. And then you see that we're depopulating citizens, which is the insurer of last resort, which means all the taxpayers are on the hook. So we're moving in the right direction because we introduced market forces to this situation, and we had tort reform. You may not know this, but you probably do, but your listeners and your viewers may not. In the run-up to DeSantis signing that legislation, the trial bar filed 280,000 cases knowing that Governor DeSantis was going to sign that legislation on tort reform. And so it takes a while for those cases to wash through the system. And so we're starting to see stability. Companies are coming back into the state. Market forces are at work. And that's what we knew was going to happen. As daylight follows dawn, it's going to happen when you allow the market to work.
Yeah. And the other thing, Bob, is that when people we're demagoguing the issue, and they're like, they're going and they're never coming back. What are we going to do? I was like, come on. Like that, and there were people that believed it. Like the insurers are going to leave. They're going to leave us all hanging here. Every single citizen's going to have to go into citizen. It's like, that's way over the top. And especially considering that the legislature, they tackled this. They knew what needed to be done. They got it done. I mean, there's more that can be done, certainly. Don't get me wrong. They're not finished by any means. But that kind of talk, right? And it scares people away. And it's almost like it's meant to scare people away.
Yeah, no, they demagogue the issue. And look, insurance companies don't help themselves, right? Nobody loves their insurance company. Insurance companies, we know the history there of the things that they do and have done in the past. But the reality is, Florida is the third largest state in the country. We have 23 million people in the state. We have 1,000 people moving here a day. Everybody, every corporation, every company wants to play in the state of Florida if it makes economic sense. And by putting in place tort reform and some of the other things that we've done on property insurance, those companies are now coming back into the market in the most dynamic state in the country.
Yeah. Bob LaClore is the president and CEO of the James Madison Institute. And before we talk more, once again, about the event, February 17th, I just give you just a couple of minutes, if you wouldn't mind, just looking at the state. Obviously we're getting close to the session and some of the priorities, some of the things maybe that you're looking at, keeping an eye on, maybe some of the things that you would like to see at JMI.
I think we there's several things that need to happen. I think we need to continue to do more on insurance reform, and I think you're going to see the legislature move in that direction, like we just spoke about. I think affordable housing is going to be a big issue, but what your viewers and listeners need to understand is that there's a difference between affordable housing and building housing that's affordable. Affordable housing is code for local control, telling builders what they can and can't do, holding up their permits, and saying, oh, and you can't make any money off building these homes. Building houses that are affordable have to do with permit times, with getting permits, with wait times, with government regulation, overbearing, lot sizes, different things like that. You can build high quality homes for middle America if you just get local government out of the way. That's going to be a big issue. And then I think you're going to continue to see some things on education and school choice, some of the funding things that need to be reworked as families decide, do they want homeschooling? Do they want a good public school, parochial school? I think you're going to see some of those things moving forward. And we're going to play defense because the trial bar is coming for the legislature. They are not going to stand by and allow these insurance reforms to go through. So we got to play some defense and box those people out.
All right, before we go, let everybody know once again about the event so they don't miss out on it.
Thank you. It's February 17th. It's at La Playa on Vanderbilt Beach. It is Trey Gowdy and Harold Ford Jr., James Madison Institute. We've been doing this annual event for, a decade at least. And your folks can go to jamesmadison.org. There are a few VIP tickets, some regular tickets left, but it's going to be a great conversation with two reasonable men who want to talk about the future of the country. And I think it's going to be a great night for everyone. JamesMadison.org.
Sounds good. All right, my friend. Always great to see you. Always great to talk to you. We got to do this again soon, okay? So please come back.
Love to. Thanks for having me.
God bless. We'll see you soon.
See you.
All right, there he goes. That is Bob McClure, President CEO of James Madison Institute, JMI. And that seems like a fun event to hear Howard Ford Jr., Trey Gowdy, Fox, if you've seen them before, kind of having a reasonable discussion, which will be fun to hear and check out. And yeah, just go to jamesmadison.org and you can find out more about getting your tickets there. All right, what else do we have going on here on Florida's Voice? Hit me. All right, as we start to look at some of the things that have been happening in the headlines, there's a lot going on right now. Why does it keep happening? Eric Doherty at Eric L. Daw on X reporting just a few minutes ago. You've got Congressman Mfume, Democrat, who's demanding a quote-unquote street fight over President Trump's implementing his agenda. Talking about fights. I hope they are not trying to foment any kind of violence on the streets right now. But we have said this before. Big D, on the other side of the glass, can just affirm what I am about to say. How many times, D, have we said it's been awfully quiet? What's going on? Countless times. And all they needed was the issue. All they needed was the boogeyman. All they needed was the issue and the person that they could, quote unquote, target politically, that they could make something out of to try to mobilize people to the streets. Now, will they? Will we see the kind of mobilization that we have seen from the left in the past with, in 2020 and a lot of other times? If you had to predict this, D, do you think we'll see that kind of mobilization this time over Elon Musk and some of what they are talking about with Trump and the implementation of what they've been doing there in D.C. and the closing of different alphabet bureaucracies and the looking for waste, fraud, and abuse? What do you think? Do you think it'll come to fruition or what?
It's definitely quite possible, and it's sad to say that I think it's closer than ever. I mean, we had, Maxine Waters and her posse show up on the USAID. marching on the stairs for them.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before the ordinary citizens gather.
Yeah. And I'm going to make a prediction right now. Okay, so do you want to write it down? Do you need to record? What do you need to do, D? If I make a prediction...
I'm going to write it down in the note that I have, that everything you asked me to write down is written.
Is it really? Wow.
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. My prediction is it's not going to fly. They won't get it. And here's why. Because if the big issue is finding waste, fraud, and abuse and calling it out, no matter what it's under the name of, I think people like that. In other words, you can't mobilize enough people against what they're doing right now, which is saving taxpayers' money. Now, you can call it anything you want. You can say that Elon's coming for your money, but I don't think they see it because they're still getting their checks because nothing's changed, right? It's not like a government shutdown where you actually see a building is shut, right? You see people not going to the job. If you see that the building is shut, let's just say in some of these departments, and people aren't going to their jobs across the country, people are still working. Yeah, in D.C., there's people not going to work. Certain people aren't going anymore. But the rest of the country, it's not tangible. See what I'm saying? It's not happening to me. It's not happening to you. Everything stays the same.
That's a different way to look at it, too.
Yeah. So if it's not happening to you, then they can talk all they want about the street fight and everything else. Who wants to? Nobody knows what they're going to fight about. What am I fighting? You had a mandate for Trump, so there's no fight there. And they're not being hurt by, they're not losing out on checks. They're not losing out on the things that they're trying to make it sound as if they're losing out on. So why fight? I'm kind of tired of fighting. I don't want to fight with you, D.
I don't want to fight with you.
What are you trying to say? What do you mean? You're like, why? Because you think you could take me? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to break through this glass and show you.
You know what I love about you? I never know what you're going to do. I never know what you're going to say. Sorry, that was really funny. Of all the things, oh man, you so get me. Dude, you get me. That's okay. You got to go. What is it? I'm sorry.
That's good.
Yeah, I know. You get me. Oh man, I never know where you're going. It's so funny. Eric's also reporting that the Senate's about to vote to advance the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard. How about that? Yep, okay. Also, Senator Susan Collins, the big lefty rhino. Oh, well, she's can you be lefty and a rhino? Sure you can be. Susan Collins, Republican. Just has an R after her name. Is voting to confirm RFK Jr. for HHS Secretary. Okay. That's two of those. So that's out there as well. That's kind of a big deal. Oh, I'm looking at this. Okay. Eric's got some great stuff today. And I'm looking at how much time we have. So let me see if I have this right. Here in the state of Florida, you have people who want to run for office. Obviously, to represent you, people that are looking for your sacred vote in different communities, whether it's a state rep or Senate, even in your own communities, city council, commissioners, whatever the case may be. Dog catcher. But the talk has been about Gen Z and how Gen Z might save the country. It's hard to believe, but the numbers are bearing it out. So Trump's got his best approval numbers ever right now. They're just blowing people away. Can't believe it. But if you look at the generational breakdown of the numbers, boomers are 50-50, millennials are +4. Gen Z is +10. Can I say that again? Boomers are 50-50. Millennials are +4, and Gen Zs are +10 approval of Trump. Like are Zoomers right wing? And there's more here in the state of Florida on that issue coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flip Dinero. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Okay, anytime you want to watch NFL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. And a big thank you to all of our affiliates for allowing this program to be part of your programming day. We thank you so much. All right. It is time for the top 5 audio clips of the day. We do it each and every day at this time. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
Do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No, but he's very capable. I mean, I don't think that I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting.
But by the time...
What does he say? Wait, let it go.
By the time we get to the midterms, he's going to be looking for an endorsement.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this has been the greatest opening, almost 3 weeks, in the history of the presidency.
It's definitely been the fastest and the most stuff happening.
We've done so much, so fast.
Yeah, so much, so fast. So there's Brett Baer, who yesterday did the interview, the usual interview with the president during the Super Bowl and halftime. Do you view J.D. Vance as your successor? No, but he's capable. There's a lot of capable people. It's like, I guess if I was Trump, I'd be like looking at my watch. It's like, do you know how long I've been here? Can you wait a little while? Or
Number 4.
Yeah. What about you, Anna? Okay, well, I don't do sports. I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about...
I can't let that go on anymore. Yeah, so that's Anna Navarro from The View. Kendrick Lamar was doing the halftime show, and... some people were like, no, thanks. And some people were like, this is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. It depends, generationally, if you like the music, okay. She said, President Trump's going to ban black people from the Super Bowl halftime show after what transpired at the Super Bowl last night and the performance. There's a lot of things today that are leaving me speechless. Are we really doing that?
Number 3.
Really the latest in what we've seen has been a rapid fire effort by the Trump administration to try and find areas to cut funding, to cut money. And this is one that the president now says he argues is one that he wants to target. Now, this was not, I want to note, not something that the president talked about throughout his time on the campaign trail. But we do know that Elon Musk, who's running, the Department of Government Efficiency, they had actually brought this up last month in a post on X highlighting the cost to produce pennies. So all of this kind of tied to that broader effort of them trying to find waste, abuse, and fraud.
Yeah. So there's Elon Musk and the president putting out a truth, if you will, saying, hey, I don't know, costs more to make the penny, costs 2 cents to make 1 cent. So that seems like some waste. so maybe we stop making pennies. I don't know. Might be one of those things that makes sense. Who's with me? Thanks.
Number 2.
You know, I think one of the things that's so important for politicians is for folks to believe what they're saying and that they're keeping their campaign promises. So I think this gives you a pretty gosh darn good idea of what may be going on. Trump's doing what he promised to do. You go back to April of 2017, it was just 46% of all Americans who said that Trump was doing what he promised to do. Compare that now to February of 2025. You know, there was a good show that was on during the 1990s called A Different World. That is what's going on right now. We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do. Again, compare that to April of 2017 when it's just 46%. When Americans are 24 points more likely to say that you're doing what you promised to do, it's no wonder that your net approval rating is much more likely to be on the positive side of the ledger than on the negative side. And so far, what we're seeing, again, is Americans, 21 days so far, versus just 11 days during his entire first term, that Trump has a positive net approval rating.
Whoa. How about that? That's got to hurt CNN saying that kind of stuff. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing exactly what he promised. Then his approval rating's at an all-time high. Some would say promises made, promises kept. Yeah, I'd say that too. It's
Number 1.
Oh, look at that. That is that's the sound, everybody, of a joy-filled street. People just loving on each other, excited about the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Oh, there's lots of hugging going on. There's lots of handshaking involved. Actually, that looks like a riot. It looks like there's melee on the streets of Philadelphia as they won the Super Bowl. How does that work here? Have we figured this out? The dynamics.
Drew's top 5.
Again, Big D. There it is. What's going on here? Why is it every time somebody? It's like I almost don't want Tampa or Miami anytime soon or Jacksonville to win a Super Bowl because I like the city the way it is. It's everything's functioning. Everything. The streets are nice. Everything's. I don't want things broken. So
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Yeah.
What would have happened if they lost?
I don't know. By the way, what happened in Kansas City? I wonder. They lost. Did they just pack up and go home, or? I mean, did they? They didn't do anything on the streets. Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
No.
But I just don't understand. I don't get it. The idea of ruining your city over victory. I'll never wrap my head around it.
I can't wrap. Thank you, D. I can't wrap my head around it either. I just don't understand it. It's one of those. It's one of those strange things. It's like if I don't know. It would be like I'm trying to think of the stupidest thing I can possibly imagine. I hate saying stupid. It's probably a bad way to say that, but like in sports, it would be. You know what it'd be like? It would be like if people would say Donald Trump showed up at the Super Bowl yesterday, and there he was hanging out and getting the cheers from the crowd, and Tay-Tay getting the boos from the crowd. How sad! I mean, they didn't really boo her. I mean, that would be terrible. You don't want people booing Tay-Tay there. No, they actually did. Don't we have any audio of her getting booed? I guess not. I thought we. Oh, there it is. Wait. There's Tay-Tay getting booed as they showed her face on the Jumbotron. It would be... The destroying of cities after sports is almost as dumb as somebody saying that Trump shouldn't show up at the Daytona 500 because people might die or something like that. Like, that would be the most ridiculous...
Breaking news. A bombshell.
Oh, what? Oh, this just in. Oh, somebody said that. Did they really? Newsweek. No. Okay, so Trump's going to the Daytona 500. He was there at the Army-Navy game. He was at the Super Bowl. Newsweek Newsweek said, reflecting on Trump's history with the Daytona 500, his attendance in 2001 coincided with the tragic death of NASCAR icon Dale Earnhardt Sr. after a crash on the final lap. In 2020, Trump attended the Daytona 500 as president, with responsibilities including signaling the start of the race. During this race, Ryan Newman experienced a violent crash on the final lap. What? Like, Big D, can you make sense of why somebody would say something? I mean, is that TDS on steroids? Like, what is that?
That is ridiculous.
That could be the craziest thing I've ever heard. Well, actually, there's a lot of lefties out there, and they've existed for a long time, so it's not the craziest thing I ever heard, but there you go. So they're trying to say, don't go, because every time you go to Daytona, people get hurt. Okay, got it. Bear in mind, all you crazy lefties out there, the last time there was a Democrat involved in some way, shape, or form with racing, NASCAR, as it were. And
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon.
So, I don't know. Maybe. Big D, do you remember that? That was.
How can I not?
I know you can remember that, but that was the. It's so. Never mind. I just can't even do this. By the way, at the 2020 race, when they found out that Trump. Because at the 2020 race, Trump was the pace car. Do you remember that, D? In 2020, it was. They had the what is it, the big monster, the huge monster, the bigly monster. Remember the big vehicle that Trump was in, the same vehicle that he tried to grab the steering wheel from the Secret Service agent on January 6th. Whole okay, yeah. So they were out there, and he was the pace car, and you remember how some of the drivers reacted, literally.
He's gonna pace the field. Yep. Love it. Gosh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh man, so there's that. All right. Anyway, what else? What else do we have going on here in Florida's Voice? Hit me. All right, checking out a couple of other stories. Yeah, I know. Soon. Don't worry, Nina. We're going to be doing it. Nina's favorite portion of the program is how we put a bow on the show at the end, where we skim the headlines and just go through all the breaking news that she feeds me, and I eat, and I get a little belly. But that's coming up in just a minute. I don't know if we have enough time to play all of this. I'm going to try. You know, Mike Benz has been doing some amazing work finding out more about USAID, discovering what it is that they've been doing and spending money on. And you've heard story after story after story about USAID. And there's a couple of other things that he dug into that I think are very interesting, provocative. You know, he was on a podcast recently and talking about what he believes was going on in Brazil, you know, Bolsonaro and the election there, and super popular, very Trump-esque, you can say, at the time. And all of a sudden you got Lulu coming out of a jail, a prison cell, the Supreme Court letting him out and running. And it was almost like a setup to make sure that Bolsonaro would lose the election. And this is a little bit of what he talked about.
The threats of disinformation and hate speech create threats to social cohesion, and fake news pollutes the democratic process. So they used all of these essentially fake predicates to shoehorn into these State Department and USAID and National Endowment for Democracy programs a whole bribery apparatus. They call it Hearts and Minds, but it's really Hearts and Minds in cash. We flood the zone with tens of millions of dollars of grant money that goes into the Brazilian universities, that goes into the Brazilian legal scholars. And then those legal scholars, they then campaign to the National Assembly in Brazil. They then take up disinformation advisory posts on the censorship court. They work with Globo, the largest Brazilian newspaper, the largest newspaper and media distribution outlet in all of Brazil, is partnered with the U.S. State Department, is partnered with USAID, is partnered with the National Endowment for Democracy, so that the media surround sound in Brazil becomes this parasitic State Department mind virus in order to get the people in Brazil to support a censorship law in the National Assembly.
Let me just stop. You weren't following a lot of that, but let me just kind of break it down for you. Mike Benz, who's been just been doing he's been all over the place, viral on social media, talking about USAID. And what if that was taking place? What if exactly what he was describing was what was happening, which is through USAID, through our tax dollars, your money was going to universities, was going to media outlets, was going to all different kind of places in Brazil to censor people's speech, to get certain people to go out onto the streets to cause trouble against Bolsonaro, very Trump-esque Bolsonaro, as opposed to going out and supporting him and all the great things that were happening at the time, supporting the left candidate, to have a change of regime, if you will, there in Brazil. Is that what your tax dollars were being used for? You see where the worry is there.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move. When being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew.
Put a bow on the show. Finishing out the program strong. Okay, so I just have to double check this. I'm not going to just trust whatever I see on the interwebs. Thanks, Al Gore. I'm going to ask Big D to join me in double checking this. I have not prepped him on this yet, so this is all new to him. Okay, so Big D, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I need you to go to Google, and I need you to open up a tab. I don't know if you use Google or whatever you're using. Go to Chrome. Go to Google. Okay, are you using Chrome?
I am using Chrome. I'm with you.
All right. Go to the top, and in the bar at the top, type in Florida, the word Florida. Okay, and then just hit enter. Now, when you hit Florida, and you see like pictures of Disney and all this stuff, and go to the map. Click the map. I click the map with I want you to zoom in, and tell everybody what you see.
I see an updated map off the western side of Florida. There's a body of water called the Gulf of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you type in Florida in Google right now, and you go to maps, and you zoom into the Gulf, it says in Google, the Gulf of America. I can't take all the winning. I just can't take it. That looks so
good.
Oh, does that look beautiful? Now, it would look better if Gulf was red, of was white, and America was blue. That
we're getting a little ambitious here. Let's take our wins, Drew. Let's take our wins.
No, I don't know. No. I need more. Wow. I'm pleased. This pleases me.
Did you find this by yourself?
No, actually, Nina brought it to my attention via her breaking news stuffing my inbox before the end of the program. She sent it to me, so good for her. I wish I found it myself. I can't take the credit. I give it to Nina, and Nina will give it to somebody else because we like to pass it on. She keeps telling me, she wants me to mention that Jalen Hurts was at Disney, riding the rides, was at Disney, like, where are you going? I'm going to Disney World. Okay, well, I don't know. You're not there. You're here, Nina. You're in the breaking news room. You can't go see Jalen. I'm sorry. So she wanted me to say that, so there's that. Here's this little nugget that I forgot to play. This should have been one of the top 5 audio clips. It was Trump on the plane over the weekend.
The president suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that you don't like, they can just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with? Who? Oh, no wonder. I thought they died.
Big D, the reporter asked a dumb question. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But neither do you.
Who are you with? The HuffPost. I thought they died.
Wow.
Oh, that is so good. And then the other thing I wanted to mention that I didn't get a chance to tell you before we leave. Remember I told you boomers are 50-50, millennials are +4, Gen Z is +10. Trump's best approval ratings ever when you break it down. A Gen Z MAGA supporter is running for the student government president and vice president at the University of Central Florida. Gen Z's gonna be conservative, people.
They're gonna save the country. Come on.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Aw, Nina's upset that it's over. She'd love to do another hour of the show. You go ahead, I'm hungry. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Looking forward to seeing you then. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.